Black people truly have no allies, and solidarity is really out the window in my mind for everyone under the POC umbrella. But especially when it comes to black people, it appears that we are just the can everybody wants to kick around. A Native woman came online and said that black people are settlers. We are the settlers under the settler colonialism.
Black Americans' claim of being the original indigenous people of this land was actually somewhat predicted in this article. There are differences between being oppressed and being a settler. If people are unable to distinguish between the two, then they sing Black Americans, but also other settler immigrants. It is a fact that we are all affected by colonization, but by saying that we are all colonized, the implication is that no one is a settler, which can ignore the fact that some people of color can still be settlers on indigenous land.
You may be thinking to yourself, how does that make any sense? Because a Native definitely knows that African Americans are a product of enslaved people. But she's tying it to all those pretendians who saying that they're the original inhabitants of this land. They're the original Indians. They're the natives of this land, even though that's not all of us. So to take a claim that's made by a small percentage of black people in this country and then say that all black people are settlers is really crazy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So there's this bizarre claim floating around online. Some people are calling Black Americans settlers and are even saying that they're immigrants, right? And to make it worse, MAGA supporters are talking about deporting Black Americans after Latinos and Asians. Anyways, credit to all the creators featured in this video. Let's break down what's really being said.
Settler colonialism is a logic and structure using colonial rule to overtake an environment and replace it with your own people and replace the indigenous people, which has happened here. Black people did not settle in America by choice. Anybody that has settled around the world under the imperialistic guise that happened during the Great Scramble for Africa, for China, India, Australia, and Americas, that was Europeans. We did not settle here. We were forced here by slavery, a system of slavery, one of the biggest migration of human bodies in human history. And we then spent hundreds of years here under forced labor, while at the same time, I can hold two truths. At the same time, your ancestors were killed, were taken out by biological warfare, your land was stolen, there were land grabs, you were forced into settlements, you were forced into containment areas. That is true, but we didn't do that. We didn't take your land over. If anything, the Malian kingdom definitely visited America hundreds of years before Europe. Scandinavians visited the America hundreds of years before Columbus. But the French, the Dutch, the English, they stayed. The Spanish, they stayed. This conversation is crazy. I feel like every day there's always something new that's coming up about Black Americans that people feel the need to use us to drive their point home. Two things can be true. This can be your land, you can be colonized, you can be displaced, and settlers took your land. I can be the product of colonialism by forced migration and slavery. Wow. Because the pretendians are coming online saying that they're the natives, you're saying that we all are settlers.
For Juneteenth, I need y'all to learn that Black Americans are not immigrants. You're not an immigrant when you are dragged across the globe against your will to be worked and bred and tortured by the very people who stole the land upon which you were dragged to, okay? We didn't choose to vacation here. We didn't choose to flee here. We didn't choose any of this. That's the difference. A lot of y'all are immigrants, and God bless you for it, but that will never be Black Americans. We were forced to build up the places that a lot of your ancestors immigrated to, and to this day didn't get a stake in any of that. So before y'all run your mouths about Black Americans and our history in this country, make sure you're not spewing out garbage first. Because immigrants made this country what it is, but we are the building blocks, the very foundation. So unless you're Native American, you can't say nothing to me about that.
Why is it that when people try to make a point, they always put Black people in the front and they're not speaking from a Black experience because they're not Black, but they put Black people in the front just to make people aware, right? So let's be clear real quick. Like, Black Americans are not settlers. We are not settlers. Not now, not ever. And if you ever hear this lie floating around, let me break it down, because I had to go back and really research and then figure out why people are saying this and try to put two and two together, right? So a settler is someone who chooses to come to this land, someone who benefits from the system built on indigenous land. You know, like theft. That's not us. We did come prior to slavery and do a lot of trading, vice versa, and left, some stayed, but we were stolen. Our ancestors were kidnapped, chained, and dragged across the Atlantic during the transatlantic slave trade. That's not migration. That is freaking trauma that we still live through today. Passed down trauma. Now, some people are going to try to twist the conversation because I knew about this, so I wanted to know about this, so I'm going to add it in because some of y'all don't know this. Some of y'all didn't know that indigenous tribes also own black slaves. Yes, and that's the truth, and we shouldn't hide that, okay? The truth shall set us free. So some of the 5 tribes, like the Cherokee and the Choctaw, I say it wrong all the time, sorry, adopted slavery, aligned with the Confederacy, right? They were forced to do it and even fought to keep slavery alive. So yeah, they were forced to do this, okay? Still did it, but they were forced. So that's a historical fact. But guess what? That doesn't erase their sovereignty, right? And it does erase our right to tell the full story. So if you go tell the story, dig deep and look around and see what other parts they left out. And here's the part they never talk about. Like long before the colonization of African people, they were already here. Like I said earlier, we traded with indigenous nations. We brought copper, textiles, and tools. And we built relationships based on respect, not conquest. Okay? We weren't settlers. We were explorers. We were refugees. We were survivors. Okay? So stop trying to lump Black Americans in with colonizers. Stop it. We weren't the ones who took land, who built empires, or who drew borders to separate people. We were forced to survive inside someone else's nightmare. I'm trying to calm down, y'all. Because Black Americans, again, are not settlers. We're the descendants of stolen people, and we are also the resistance. So don't erase us to clean up history. Say it with your full chest on what's really going on. If you go speak the truth, please do some research and then go back and find the truth.
What do you mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Y'all thought Black people, Black Americans, African Americans, Blacks, us, were immigrants. The hardest lessons, clearly, it's going to take me a long time to learn and figure out is that other people just don't know what I know. I assume that a lot of people know what I know. That's why y'all keep saying that, huh? That makes sense, I guess. That we're next. Y'all think, what? How do y'all not know how long we've been a part of this country? Black people fought in the crispest attics. Did everybody not, at my little church, every Black History Month, there was this huge thing. I'll never forget when I came to my grandma's house. It was a huge package, and it was all of these cards. They were ABC cards, but on every card, letter of the alphabet, and an important person from Black history.
Okay, so first of all, let's get this straight. Black Americans, especially the foundational Black Americans, the FBAs, they are not immigrants. Their ancestors built America. They don't have anywhere else to go back to because America is their home. And it's wild to see people talking about deportations as if Black Americans just got to the USA, right? The truth is their blood, sweat, and labor are part of every brick in America, right? And yet MAGA supporters are acting like the Black Americans are next in line after deporting other groups, which honestly makes no sense.
So wait, people really thought that African Americans were immigrants? Yeah, I know y'all lying. Don't immigrants go like on their own? If they, they go to a particular country on their own accord, because they may be trying to get away from whatever. We ain't come here because we wanted to be here. We still don't want to be here. Hell, we hoping that they maybe put us out and send us somewhere. Well, what do y'all mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Immigrants? Y'all know the story of how we got here? Do that make sense? Like, this world is so disillusioned about African Americans. We're descendants of Africa, but we've been here for hundreds of years. We're not first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation. Like, we've been here. We built this country. The foundation of this country is built by African Americans. And we didn't come here because we want to be here. Like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all thought we were immigrants. Immigrants? Who? Where? Immigrants? I got papers to prove I ain't no immigrant. Like, some of the stuff that I hear on social media is correct. Like, for real, y'all thought we were immigrants. Come on now. Stop playing. We don't want to be here now. Get us out of here.
Many Black Americans are not scared because we've already survived the worst that this country has had to show us, or the worst that this country can be. We are the descendants of American chattel slavery. And this is specifically going to be about Black American descendants of slavery, meaning you're Black, you identify as a Black American, born in the United States, or you have a traceable ancestor to American chattel slavery. I don't care if you are as light as Alicia Keys or as dark as Doechii. This applies to you. Black Americans have already survived enslavement, lynching, forced breeding, and the other horrors of slavery. Every Black American living today has a stronger genetic connection to their white enslaver ancestor than we do to any single one of our Black ancestors in Africa. Yeah, are we Black? Very much. Proud of it, always. But that statistically does not erase the fact that our white ancestry came from a likely non-consensual, brutal relationship on our paternal side from one or two or more, in my case, as dark as I am, male white ancestors to one of our enslaved great-grandmothers. That's only 6 to 8 generations ago. There are people living today that have a 4th great-grandparent, and that's slavery, let alone the Jim Crow South. My grandfather was born in the Jim Crow South era of Alabama, 1940s Montgomery, Alabama. He's only in his 80s. Meanwhile, our African ancestry that makes us the Black Americans we are, it gets blended from different people, from different African ancestors. So our genetic connection to any single one of them, it just gets lower the more time goes. And I'm not someone who has any identifiable white ancestor in my family tree. Now, granted, my ancestors do get lighter in the photo album the further back you go. And once you hit around the turn of the 20th century, some of them just look white. Like you can't tell that they're Black, but they're Black Americans, the African Americans. And I need to stop saying African Americans, because I personally just think that African Americans should be reserved for those who have a parent or who are recently from the continent of Africa. They're born in Africa. Black Americans, I'll be honest with you, I would rather be called a Black Negro in that sense, because I am of the Negroid race. Reclaiming it with the honor and the strength and the dignity that it deserves. Because I am a descendant of the Black American Negroes in this country, the enslaved, the beaten, and the brutalized. And while many Mexican Americans, for instance, or from other Hispanic countries may say, well, wait a minute now, we also are the descendants of the indigenous. Because yes, most Black Americans have, well, I wouldn't say most, but I would say a substantial amount of Black Americans have a traceable Native American or indigenous ancestor as well, as do I. It's literally 2%, but it's there. Many Mexicano Americans are descendant from the Spanish colonizers and the Native Americans or the indigenous people to this land. But most of that is European ancestry. And while yes, Mexican Americans may, like the indigenous, have a stronger connection, genetic connection to this actual land because of their native ancestors, Black Americans have a stronger genetic connection to this nation. America has never not known a Black face. So when Black Americans get very offended over the whole, like, go back to Like, I literally have not heard that since 2008 when Obama was running for president. Like, go back to this is literally the country of my great 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 grandmother's great 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 grandmother. So when we joke, it's history and it's rhetoric, it's genealogy and it's trauma layered in one. We are the American heirs. When you look at a Black American, you are truly looking at the face of America. If America truly, considering its entire history, were to have a physical human representation of what it would look like, someone who has a genetic connection to all of the major players to this country's origin or its story, it'd be the Black American Negro, the descendant of the white enslaver, the Black enslaved, and the native.
A lot of Black people, they're saying we're not going anywhere, we didn't just show up, we were here before many of you, and rightly so, right? Because it's not about asking for permission to stay, it's about demanding recognition for what they've contributed, what they've sacrificed, right? Anyways, credit to all creators again, featured in this video, and thank you for tapping in when you saw this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please let me know how you feel about this idea that Black Americans are settlers. I mean, isn't that just rewriting history? Anyways, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you on my next one.